Missed his apex. Doesn't have direction. He didn't have a good exit because he didn't look at his exit. Here we go. So this is also a great video and a very different view. And this is Glenn's video. So this one tells us a lot of different things. And I wanted to do this video because it does definitely have a little bit of a different twist to it, which is you getting to see his hand. So let's go ahead and get this one going a little bit. This is at Thunderhill West, and this is at Thunderhill West running clockwise. So we'll watch this one a little bit. And the one thing that I'm really looking at is it's his right hand, right? His motor controls. And what you'll really see with this is when we look at motor controls is how adjustable they can be. So then what are some of the report cards to know that if he's using some of these things right, or does he have more opportunity? All right, comes down the front straight away. And pretty quick grab, pretty quick grab, not a squeeze, grab. Grab, comes down here into 10. I love his release. Beautiful, fantastic. But look how early the release is. How do we know it's early? Look how much neutral throttle he has, pause, for the radius of that corner. So having ridden that track just recently on the Feel Like a Pro bikes, oh my gosh, so much fun, that I know that if I do that corner correctly, I don't have any neutral throttle. So in this case, a great report card is grab the brake, beautiful release, coasting, 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 and missed his apex. Missed his apex because the brake came off early. If he'd simply stayed with the brake another 5 or 10 feet, he would have been closer to the apex. And then here's the issue. Doesn't have direction for the exit. So doesn't get to accelerate. Very little acceleration. Goes to the brakes. I like him using the brake, adjusting with it. So you can really see some interesting things here. One is, as he's exiting this corner, he's already looking down the track at the next corner, but he hasn't finished this corner, right? Look how much track he has left over on the exit. So my reference, what we're talking about is finish your segment. I'm looking over here until I get there, until I have orientation to it. In this case, he didn't worry about his exit. He didn't spend the time to stay in that zone, right? So comes in, he's already looking down at the next corner, but he hasn't finished his exit yet. And that's why he's got track left over. The interesting thing about this particular corner is using all the track on the exit is what sets you up for the next corner. So part of understanding your reference points, part of understanding how to maximize each segment. That's something that we spend a lot of time looking at. All right. Better. Yeah, actually much better, very deliberate. Let's talk about this. We have a very short, tight radius corner. The slowest point is about right here. But because he's actually traveling too quickly, he doesn't start to add positive throttle till probably 20 feet too late. Doesn't have direction yet, so going slower at the slow point so you can accelerate longer. Yeah, if you look at the brake there, he accelerated pretty darn well, but the brake was kind of like a light switch there. On, off. Neutral throttle. Good apex. Brakes. Much better job using the brakes. If I would have liked to have seen that type of brake movement, and I know those two corners, I would have liked to have seen this brake movement back there in 6. So let's talk about that. He did a really good job on the entry, right? Really good job on the entry, but because he's already looking at the next corner, he's already given up on his exit. He's not thinking about his exit. He hasn't finished his exit yet, so we want to stay in that zone. Yeah, I realize that rider has got 1,000 and they're driving past him. I get it, but the idea is that, you know, finish the corner, finish the segment. Another one, I know this corner, and look at the brake ends up being a little bit more like a light switch. On, off. Coming up here into 2. Brakes off pretty early in there. And I know this is a long radius corner, so you get to have a lot of neutral throttle because that's what that radius dictates. The other corners that we're talking about, much shorter radius. A lot of neutral throttle. All right, back on the front straight. There's his brake. The coasting time in there. See the coasting time in there. Off the brake, nothing. Better apex for sure, and much better acceleration. Not nearly enough brake in there. Okay, so I wanted to show you another one on this video. So now we switch to the front view. So we have a rider on a kind of a big dual sport, like a GS type of a bike, comes in and really opens up that corner and doesn't respect direction. I mean, doesn't respect at a point where he can start accelerating while he takes away lean angle. Enters pretty wide, but is already accelerating. And this rider is going this direction, but we really want to be going this direction. So if you're off the brake at that point, and you go back to the throttle, the way to do it is you stay at neutral throttle until you have direction. Because if you go to open the throttle, what happens to your radius? It opens up. Okay, well, you want to stay on track, so what do? You lean over further. That's typically what ends up happening. Oh, if you look to see where the direction was, that's exactly what happened, right? That rider opened the throttle up, didn't have direction, so I said, I'll just lean over a little bit more. And the thing is, on that bike, right, we're not running sticky, track day tires. So the risk is actually a little bit higher. Things have to be a little bit more deliberate on a bike like that. So respecting direction is a pretty huge deal. So yeah, all that would have taken was basically waiting for direction at that point. And now the rider on this bike, Glenn, target fixates, rides off track. He had plenty of time just to stay with the brake right there. So couple of things right there. So the big thing with the big thing that I'd like to see with Glenn is same thing, really respecting the slowest part of the corner, working on adjusting his braking up. He can use the motor controls absolutely beautifully, amazing, but adjusting for that radius, for whatever the radius of those corners are. And he'd find that he'd be a lot more precise, have a lot more acceleration, and actually have less risk at doing it. So, all right. I know that was a lot. This particular is a great format. I love being able to throw their videos up. We can comment on them. We'll get them turned around for you. We'll get your plan going. We want to be your coaches. Instead of, my day rate is $1,500 a day. I'd love for you to pay me $1,500 a day, and my kids would love it because that way they know they're going to be set in college. But I know that that's not always feasible. But this is a great affordable way to get the exact same information and get your individual plan, going. Like for instance, with Glenn, we make sure that we got him to finish his direction with the brakes. Same thing, we'd have him going over the 5 reference points and really dialing it in. He did a great job with most of his turn-in reference points, but we had a lot of opportunity on exit reference points. So we would build literally his map. We'd get the track map out. We'd literally draw on his track map, and he'd have that for his next day at the track. So that's sort of it. So a couple of live videos that we did, or coaching sessions that we did for you. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. Yeah, you guys are super welcome. Actually, you need to thank Dion. Dion is the one that donated the time for this. And Dion's the one that wants motorcycles to be successful. The car side of this, I'll be honest, the car side of this is going great. The motorcycle side, not doing that great. I think there's a lot of people that can afford this, and this is a great avenue for them. So we need to get more people out there doing this. And again, we can get your conversations going. We can get your coaching sessions going. And this is a super affordable way to do it.